Special Tomorrowland-themed Disney logo expects me to forget the 30 seconds stolen from my life.
This is a story about the future.
Just because Clooney's face is in the picture doesn't make this not narration.
Environmental collapse.
And scientific breakthroughs, wonder and beauty.
Could you please just stop interrupting?
The screenwriter of this movie would be excellent at CinemaSins, curiously.
And closer.
I know. Tell them about
I can't tell them anything until I...
Skip. It's official. Everyone working at Hollywood had some formative experience with the World's Fair back in the day, and it led to every screenplay ever written. This kid survives this.
How would your jetpack make the world a better place?
Can't it just be fun?
Okay, first of all, that this judge can't see the practical implementations of a working jetpack. Second of all, that this kid who invented it can't describe one practical application of a personal flying machine.
Who are you? I'm the future, Frank Walker.
That is not an acceptable answer to anyone not living inside a movie. Why the f is there an empty-ass boat floating down the water here? Is that the rescue boat, in case the one in front gets attacked by the communists? Also, good to see 1960s World's Fair security is roughly equivalent to modern-day security at a 49ers game. Helmets are hung at a height just so this ride will injure little kids. I think Roald Dahl designed this transport. Well, I guess falling is no longer a concern in this realm, eh? Robot accidentally turns this kid into the Rocketeer for 2 seconds. Kid falling to his death stops to admire the view. Just how Athena planned it.
Because if you think you could tell the story better, I would absolutely love to hear you try.
I would too. Futuristic movie steals the beginning scene of just about every paranormal activity.
That's Sirius. That's Canopus.
Are you going to go through your entire childhood?
This argument is not endearing. She's outside a perimeter fence about to operate an RC helicopter, but she decides to do it bathed in all the light. And allegedly, this is a NASA launch platform, so security is minimal. iPhone product placement couldn't feel more forced if it tried. Wait, what kind of security fence is this? It just curves outward? No spikes or razor wire at the top or nothing? Just a gentle slope? I mean, no wonder, right? Why would you remove your helmet and hood immediately after landing in the property you're trying to stealthily infiltrate? Sure, let's get distracted by stars while you're on the restricted NASA launch site. Movie shows me the Demon Looper kid mere minutes after showing me the one kid who played young Noah on Heroes. Movie is trying to give me a stroke solely from evil-looking child actors.
Even the teeniest of actions could change the future.
Well, Ashton Kutcher from Butterfly Effect believes you, but Bruce Willis from 12 Monkeys does not. And I'm gonna have to go, oh shit. I chose 2 time travel example actors who were both married to Demi Moore. I swear to God I didn't do that on purpose. Discount Tim, holy fucking crap.
Yeah, Eddie Newton.
Sure, Newton's his last name. You might as well have called this guy E. Einstein McSquared. Girl who sabotaged NASA platforms keeps hesitating, for some reason, in taking a single bite of that apple in her hand. Smart girl keeps doing this because maybe she wants to get caught? She's a serial killer in waiting? Once again, Athena just expects people to know what to do with like this. Discount Emerald City. What's the point of being transported to a different place if you're constrained by the limitations of the original place? Guy in handcuffs is allowed to interact with people, talk, and do stuff normal prisoners are not allowed to do.
No idea of the strings I had to pull to keep Homeland Security from pressing charges, Casey.
Well, what? Did you have to blow someone? You seem to be well beyond retired, so what kind of favors can you even call in at this point? Hey, General, I'll sing at your daughter's wedding if you look the other way on this one. What's that? Yes, Jesus, I'll bring my f***ing wife, okay? Why is it always daytime in this f***ing field, no matter what time it is on Earth when she touches this shit? Now she knows she's constrained by where her body actually is, and she still does this in her dad's room. Man, this magically transporting pin is some bullshit. Also, I think this is a nasty enough fall to sin the fact that she survives this. Casey is absolutely sure that she can navigate through the other world by traveling in this world, which doesn't make sense, considering she appeared in virtually all the same spots from the jail, from the car, and from the house. Wait, are you telling me she eyeballed that distance from her own front yard? That's amazing! How many people have died using this pin transporter? A lot, right? We're in the middle of a 5-minute unbroken shot, which would feel a lot more impressive if I didn't feel like it was getting broken every time the camera moved to look at some heavy amounts of green screen and special effect. This guy's digital futuristic newspaper is still rigid in form and not remotely pliable or paper-like. Well, this is essentially the same set Guardians of the Galaxy used for the scene where all the Guardians are arrested at once. Huzzah for thriftiness!
Now you run out of power!
If it had kept going for a few seconds longer and then given out, you would have drowned, just FYI.
What are we looking for?
You're looking for a collectible pin with a T on it. Shouldn't be too hard to find that very specific one on eBay. Also, just type in vintage round pins and that should come up in no time.
Okay, give me their number.
Jesus, can't you look at the screen?
Could you please tell me when Casey will be back?
Aren't you following her around? What is your deal that you follow someone around, give them a mysterious pin, leave, and then come back at some random time with no clue of their whereabouts?
Don't ask me how I know your name. I know it the same way I know that you are lying to me.
But you can't figure out where the hell Casey went because you're omniscient until you aren't.
Are you from the future? You clearly understand. So why aren't you telling me what I need to know?
Because up until now you've been creepy and showed no evidence you were some sort of future girl until you told Nathan his name? You're a robot. Logic already. Casey goes looking for information about a future teleportation pin at a store dedicated to a largely forgettable Brendan Fraser movie. I see you, Luke Skywalker uniform blatantly placed in the background, and I'm not gonna fall for your subliminal bullshit. Brad Bird manages to pimp the Iron Giant in his expensive Disney movie. Now I really want to watch the Iron Giant as opposed to this. This movie's true comic geek nerd expert hides in his geek shop behind Star Trek doors that are musically linked to Star Wars music, and which look like a robot's vagina. It's 10:30 in the morning, and I'm honestly surprised Casey is up and at him this early, and that the nerdy geek store is open and its employees are even awake.
I saw that you were looking for one online.
Where did you get it?
Wait a minute, you mean you found a store that was merely looking for this pin, as opposed to actually selling them? Is that how eBay works? Why would you go to this store for information anyway? Does their need imply transportation knowledge? People this serious about finding a collectible pin run a small store in Houston and hope people see their one ad on eBay. Also, this movie just jumped the Men in Black. Athena Ex Machina. Also, how the f*** did she get here in time? She's not using any kind of futuristic transport to get from Cape Canaveral to Houston in 10 minutes. And yeah, she can run really fast, but not like Florida to Texas to save somebody fast.
What just happened?
Well, you got a ridiculous bloody nose that no previous scene even hinted at. That's what happened.
And I do wish you hadn't run off before I had a chance to give you some rather necessary context.
Are you serious? Is this how future pin exchanges work? Let's just give this girl a transporting pin while she's locked up in jail, leave no notes, and expect her to just wait around for a mysterious person they do not know exists to come by and explain it to them? How often does that work? In what world can someone reach the brake from the passenger side, especially when they're like 5'3"? Once again, movie driver apparently can't see a goddamn person walking across the street and just plows right into them. Fucking Texas, man. Luckily, no one is around to see these 3 cops get vaporized right after the store exploded. There just isn't anyone who's curious in the city of Houston.
Tell him we found the girl.
In what world have you found the girl? You've found evidence of the girl, but you have no clue where she went after that.
Hold on. Recruitment for what?
I'm not allowed to answer that.
Well, that's convenient for the movie's plot, considering all the crap you've already told her. So far, we're about an hour in, and we're still pretty much in the dark about what the f*** is going on in this movie. They've been driving a stolen truck for a really long time, and absolutely no cops have pulled them over for that or the smashed windshield. Also, does this girl have like tons of money stashed away to go on huge road trips like this?
Casey, I know you have no reason to trust me.
I know you have no reason to trust me, so you should trust me cliché. The audience should now care about the memories of a robot girl who once played that paper-choosing game with Frank. Terrified girl somehow has the wherewithal to notice that this dog isn't leaving paw prints. I mean, I know she's a genius, but that is some crazy to notice. Hot digital dog! This guy, who has a hologram guard dog and a thing that knocks you the f*** out when you're at his door, doesn't have any other security beyond that when it comes to his secret satellite hoarding place. Only when Casey sets the tractor on fire does this guy's security wake up again. And that is an oddly specific reason for the alarm to go off when she's been walking all over the property. That's a pretty f***ing good fire extinguisher he's invented and not shared with the world. What a dick. The next couple of minutes of film will be brought to you by hologram technology. I mean, he has a hologram guard dog that looks real, for Christ's sake. Couldn't he just have something like that to play his home movies? Well, I'd make a quip about this clock timer countdown thing being ripped off from Lost, except Lindelof actually wrote this script, so I think whatever statement I make about it would need to include the words self and plagiarism. Oh look, he has a secret way in. He just waited forever to use it for some reason.
Let's accept that there is a world where I know with absolute certainty the exact time of your death.
It seems like this movie should have been sliding into the end of its first act right about here. Instead, they wasted 15 minutes on these two interrupting each other about how the story should be told and another 45 on confusing future pin technology before they finally got here. Shutters are wired to go down one by one, and not all at the same time, so people starting on one side of the house still actually have a chance to break in after the button is pushed. I'd like to point out that by merely making these hunter people robots instead of humans, the film was able to get away with violently stabbing one of them to death in the chest and ripping one's head clean off without it affecting the MPA's rating. Whoa, you mean this one area of the house has magnets? That's amazing. Are you saying she didn't hit him enough times with the bat to keep him from doing this? And Frank, who's experienced with these robots, literally said that's enough. But whatever, sometimes an action sequence just needs some bullshit tension.
We're actually prepared for that!
I know, right? And somehow not prepared for the old flaming tractor routine you used to sneak inside.
My hat!
Leave it!
No, I can't go without it!
Having a lucky something you can't live without. Oh good, Athena's back. Why did she leave again? Did she have to go do research on the One Ring?
Move over.
You know, I think this movie missed a real opportunity right at this moment to turn this thing into a road trip film. Think about it. A cranky old inventor, a plucky teenage girl, and a sarcastic child robot, all in a crappy pickup driving from one coast to another. Imagine the wacky adventures they'd have. Wait, are they just gonna let the girl robot that is obviously 10 years old drive the truck in broad daylight? Like no one's gonna see that and report it?
You still think you're recruiting, don't you?
50 minutes until the credits and we're still in the dark about what this movie is about.
We need to get to the spectacle.
Spectacle?
This isn't the pronoun game, but it's the pronoun game, and it's expositionally pissing me off.
Do I have to explain everything? Can't you just be amazed and move on?
This is...
Movie speaks directly to the audience.
There's Coke in the fridge.
You haven't been here in more than 25 years, according to this movie. I think both the fridge and the Coke are well past their time. She stole the Coke intended for Frank, and he just carries on like he, too, did not lose 90% of his blood sugar in the trip. And even if he has experience with this, it was 40 years ago. Dude should be doubled over in a Coke-needing fetal position right now.
They were a part of all this?
Eiffel, Jules Verne, Tesla, and Mr. Edison.
So this movie is saying Tesla and Edison willingly cooperated together on a science thing? Do you think this movie realizes how national treasure it's gotten at this point? Because I don't think it does. Luckily for the story and the film's rating, all the humans here at this moment are only standing on the perimeter down here. Come the on! Also, I'm guessing this ship has never been used, but sure, it still works after hundreds of years because the future. This guard seems very concerned about 3 dudes running up the Eiffel Tower, but was in no way troubled by the Eiffel Tower splitting in 2 to make way for a rocket a minute ago. Why does a rocket have glass windows? Okay, hold the phone. Clooney and the girl acted as though they'd done this before, but the way Paris is reacting, this is unprecedented. But even if it was 40 years ago, if the Eiffel Tower had separated for a blue rocket launch, that would be well known today, unless they use that Jupiter ascending magic bull. Does no one think they're about to die? God damn it, society. Look, this woman here and this dude are filming in portrait instead of landscape, and this chick here is using a goddamn iPad to film video. None of this is acceptable. I feel like we just went through this. They took one transport just to get to Paris. Now they're in a shuttle they launched from the Eiffel Tower because apparently this can't be cool unless they get to use a famous monument in the process. While we got a brief glimpse earlier, a movie called Tomorrowland will wait 1 hour and 26 minutes to actually spend any real time in Tomorrowland. I suspect the effects budget was at least part of the reason.
Now what?
You tell me.
Seriously? He agreed to go on this trip without discussing what they would do before they arrived? Don't you feel like the whole screenplay was written like this?
Well, you wanted to see Tomorrowland.
Roll credits.
Frank.
How the f*** do you recognize a 40 years older version of Frank? That's maybe more impressive than any other thing shown in this movie.
I think she can fix it, David.
We are now 30 minutes away from the credits, and we still don't know what the f*** it is. She doesn't know what it is either. Seems like that could have been discussed before they got here, but better to keep everyone in the dark.
The world, Miss Newton. He thinks you can fix the world.
Well, I don't know about you, but I started drinking a half hour ago, so this is plenty enough explanation for me. Bring on the crazy.
What are those?
Flashes of future.
We got him on loan from Contact. Impressed? Futuristic monitor station is basically Cerebro.
You trained her, obviously.
I just met her yesterday. She knows how things work.
It's amazing how unearned this feels. We saw her sabotage a NASA launching pad, and she asks questions at school, but nothing so far to show that she really knows how things work.
This is 3 days ago.
Maybe if you adjust some books in Morse code, you'll be able to tell your past self not to go. Wow, I almost believe these people are standing on a floating platform above a flooded neighborhood. Except it looks fake as shit.
We're not going to die. This is your world, not ours.
So it's now I've got to ask, why did that virtual reality advertisement that she walked through an hour ago require her to find a real-world location to experience it?
These people, they're driven by savagery.
Bad guy in a sci-fi movie looks upon all humans as savages cliché.
Apparently your 1/10,000th variable in the inevitability wasn't convincing enough to change his mind.
Movie is hammering that slim chance can make a big difference thing hard, which means it's the Horton Hears a Who of time-traveling movies.
You really are special.
Well, as long as there's a reason for it. Wait, there's no reason for it? Nor an explanation? Well, okay then.
You can't just zap.
Well, you knew a movie with Dr. House in it was going to have a Dr. House aha moment.
When I touched this thing, for a few minutes, it felt like anything was possible. So then why can't the opposite happen? What if the monitor is just a giant pin?
Okay, I'm just going to ask my cat Wallace to take it from here, because this movie has completely bewildered me with nonsense. Holy shit, is that a Stargate? Did they lose their patent?
It isn't just receiving tachyons. It is taking a possible future and making it...
Amplifying it, transmitting it, like a feedback loop.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that...
Are there really questions about why this movie bombed? Seems pretty obvious they jargon people to death. Movie directed by a guy who directed another movie about monologuing is about to allow this bad guy to monologue for a world record amount of time.
Bees and butterflies start to disappear. The glaciers melt.
Right, alternate dimension maybe human race sees Earth humans being terrible and prescribes immediate genocide, because they're evolved, right?
That's not the monitor's fault. That's yours.
Gotta tell you, my Dr. House meets Dr. Doug Ross fanfiction is way the hell better than this. Nix keeps an important plot device around his wrist so Frank can easily access it during a handshake.
Casey! The bomb!
This movie is barely giving Casey any more information than it's giving me. Robot 10-year-old pulls a wire or two, and suddenly this movie is real steel. Thank goodness for the tachyon see the near future omega-13 effect that we only just learned about a few minutes ago that can show Casey how to operate this bomb. But my question is, how did the first Casey through this timeline know how to operate the bomb? Falling from that height, at that speed, even if a robot arm caught the platform? She dead, yo. Oh, come on, man. Wall-E would have been able to hold it. This guy was the mascot for the Prometheus school of running away from things. I mean, dude, a simple roll to the left or right and you would avoid this, no? And that's how he became Dr. House. No wonder he's cranky. Little known fact, alternate dimension robot girls can get knocked unconscious. Huh, who knew? Luckily, this is just the future, and for this one time, it's on a long delay so that Athena can save Frank.
There are things I need to tell you before the automated program kicks in.
Fortunately, this program will allow me to tell you an unabridged story about how my AI learned to fall in love with a human, all before I die.
I'm having unusual thoughts towards Frank Walker.
They've also led to what my AI tells me is my first visit from Aunt Flobot. Almost 2 full minutes of Robot Frank childhood romance backstory I don't even care a tiny bit about. Hey, Casey, we're about to blow up this monitor thing, so you might want to start getting the hell out of here right now. F it. Movie stops just 1 pair of laser skates shy of ripping off Jupiter Ascending. On screen this time. Well, Athena just blew up Epcot. I knew Disney would be the cause of their own downfall. I just didn't know how.
Oh, bollocks.
Wait, Casey managed to run away from that? Not bloody likely. What? She did not run that far to get here that fast, goddammit.
You think it'll work?
I guess we have to make it work.
You got that, America?
We are looking for dreamers. Anyone who will feed the right wolf.
Well, I seriously think there's half a movie on the cutting room floor. I am so f***ing lost, I'm not even sure which faction this chick ended up choosing. Was it Amity? Also, did all the people around them stand around for 2 f***ing hours listening to this story? Are they as confused as we are? Why are the only Tomorrowland Dreamer Recruiter candidates children? When recruiting the best minds in the world, we'll pluck you down in the middle of f***ing nowhere to start. Cities are for closers only. This guy gets a recruitment pin because he's creative. So why not get elite? Also, it's time to reprogram the Recruitobots if one of them is just tossing out Tomorrowland pins to any old street musician. It looks like all these assholes are getting the same unexplained pin treatment as Casey was. But can it come with a fucking booklet on what to do next? Haha, Jesus, we clearly saw the windmill field as a destination when Clooney was sending off the Recruitobots. Which means, one of them merely walked up to the first human he found, planted a pin, and called it a day. Lazy ass. I'm glad we could see everyone who got a pin. I would not have believed people around the world were getting these unless they showed me the entire roster. All of them touched it at the same time? Also, remember that Casey kept running into walls when she got her pin. She had to go to a specific place in her town in order for the pin to take her to Tomorrowland. So why are these people from around the world all in the same place? Also, I can't wait to see the massive clusterfuck of all these people not knowing how to get to the city exactly, bumping into each other and stuff around the house, and eventually getting pissed off at one another enough to build an atomic bomb and make this whole movie's work useless.
Remember this?
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
Just a flesh wound.
Think this is a game? You're too young to train here. End of story. Now quit wasting our time. Get the f*** out of here.
Motivation for what?
We need to go back over, Frank.
We have to go back, Kate. We have to go back!
All the charm and the sense of purpose and the cute little smile. It's all just software.
Run by little ones and zeros, little bits of data. It's all just electrons.
We're within limits. Barely.
I'm okay to go! Just relax. You've been asleep for almost 9 hours now.
This certainly is a big, round room.
The brainwaves of mutants are different from average human beings. This device amplifies my power, allowing me to locate mutants across great distances.